Before we start the proceedings, I will allow an opportunity for the rendering of the national anthem by George Locals, Unjili Brink, Dylan Windvogel, Virgil Pale, and Jesnus Pale. Members and guests, I request that you remain silent during the rendition of the national anthem. Let us pray, laat ons bid, Masitandaze. Almighty God, where you have called us to govern this province, we ask your help to make decisions and laws that will be just and that will promote the interest of the people. Almagtige God, ons bid dat u gedurende ons vergaderings ons die nodige wysheid sal gee en ons motiewe suiwer sal hou en dat u ons sal help om al ons tekortkominge te oorkom en al ons besluite aan u op te dra. Sikalela ilezwa letu na bantu balo, umusile ukulungu kwepondo letu. Nkosi sikalela I Afrika, kina abantwana bayo, kokela inkokelezayo, yeniki ukolo I Afrika. All this we beg in your holy name. Amen. You may be seated. Order. I want to take this opportunity to welcome our esteemed guests to the sitting today. Please note that for the sitting, the standing rules of the Western Cape Provincial Parliament will apply, and further in compliance with the powers, privileges and immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act of 2004, this entire hall, including all visitor seating areas and all facilities, will be regarded as the precincts of the Western Cape Provincial Parliament. Before we proceed, I would like to provide guidance on the rules applicable to this sitting. Today we have honourable members present in this hall, together with the presiding officers and the table staff. Allow me to highlight some of the important housekeeping rules for the sitting. Today's sitting shall be governed by the standing rules, and in instances where the rules cannot be applied, the ruling by the presiding officer is final. The quorum requirements for the sitting of the House are provided for in the Constitution and the standing rules. The Sergeant at Arms will record members' attendance. Members who are present in this hall have all the privileges and immunities imparted by law. Honourable members, unless there is an indication of unanimous concurrence, voting will be confined to members present in the House and who are entitled to cast their votes in accordance with our standing rules. members who are considered out of order by the presiding officer will have their microphones muted and will be called to order. When an honourable member wishes to raise a point of order, such an honourable member may address the presiding officer as normal, but must mute his or her microphone when he or she has completed speaking. The honourable members are kindly requested to ensure that their microphones are unmuted when they are recognised by the presiding officer, and to mute the microphones when they have finished speaking. I kindly request that those who are not members of the House to observe the decorum of the House. And for the purposes of this sitting, language interpreting services are available by using the devices at your disposal. If guests require an interpreting device, please raise your hand and an attendant will assist you. Officials are available to assist honourable members who are experiencing challenges with accessing the interpreting services during the sitting. The Secretary and her administration will ensure that there is a dedicated technical support at all times during the sitting. I would like to announce to our Muslim members, guests and officials that iftar, the time to break your fast, is at 19:16 today. Provision has been made for you to break your fast, and the prayer room is available and located off the foyer on your left-hand side. Honourable members, I have to announce that in accordance with Rule 14, Sub-Rule 1 of the Standing Rules, today, the 25th of February 2026 at 18:30 has been determined as the date and the time for the Premier's State of the Province address. Honourable members, this sitting is meant specifically for the purpose of affording the Premier the opportunity to deliver the State of the Province address. And on this occasion, no business other than the address by the Premier will be entertained. I will also wish to remind members that the debate on the address will take place tomorrow on the 26th of February 2026, when members will have an opportunity to engage fully and debate the Premier's opening address, and the Premier will reply to the debate thereafter. Honourable members and guests, I now afford the Honourable Premier of the Western Cape, Honourable Premier Alan Winde, the opportunity to address the House. Honourable Premier.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker and Deputy Speaker. And if I can right up front say to you, Honourable Speaker and Deputy Speaker, and to this Parliament, thank you very much for enabling me to give you this address here in the city of George in the Garden Route. I have engaged with citizens in the last few days in this region, and it has made my resolve even stronger in bringing Parliament to the people. And so having this address here amongst the people outside of our normal legislature every now and again really gives credence to a government for the people. So I really thank you for that. So Honourable Speaker and Deputy Speaker, Honourable Cabinet Ministers, Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Leaders of political parties, Honourable Members of this Parliament, the leadership of the Griqua National Conference of South Africa, Paramount Chief Alan Andrew Lefleur, Chief Cedric Sidney van Eden, members of the Consular Corps, specifically those of you who have travelled from afar, heads of department, executive mayors and deputy mayors, municipal managers, distinguished guests, Abantu Baso, Nchona Koloni, Mensa van die Weskaap, people of the Western Cape, welcome, Wamkilekile, welcome. At the tip of Africa, there is a place. The human spirit is as vibrant as the landscape itself. It is a melting pot of history where culture echoes through colourful streets and the smell of wood smoke from the galleybuck drifts across the evening air. And as I walked in here this evening, I could smell that exact smell. At the tip of Africa, there is a place where the aroma of the fynbos becomes an instant memory. It is a scent that tells you before you've even seen the peaks of the 12 Apostles or the beaches of the garden route that you have arrived somewhere that feels like the beginning of the world. At the tip of Africa, there is a place where the Karoo nights reveal a sky so thick with stars that you feel you could reach out and touch the Milky Way. At the tip of Africa, there is a place where culinary flavors serve as a map of shared histories, from enjoying a Cape Malay curry shared in the vibrant streets of the Boerkaap, or a rustic farm lunch in the valleys of the Overberg. This is our Western Cape, where Weskus kreef lands up on lunchtime braais, where bunches of grapes become world-class wines, and where rural roads take you from valleys to mountains. This is our home. It is a special place that becomes part of the fiber of our beings, and it's dust that settles under our skin. This home of ours is the birthplace of ancient innovation and culture. It is also at the cutting edge of technology. We know this as Silicon Cape. There is a collective energy here that refuses to stand still, an energy found in Cape Town's fintech boardrooms and in the grit of software developers in the Black River Parkway. It is a place that we are privileged to call our home. A state of the province is a moment in time, a snapshot of the year that was and peeking into the year ahead. It is about the work of government. It is about accounting to this very legislature, and it is accounting to our residents. But tonight, Mr. Speaker, I want it also to be a unifying cry for oneness, for togetherness, for our humanity. So much of the world as we know it is being shaken up by growing divisions and polarization, both locally and abroad. I see politics built on separation and otherness. I see politics built on anger and vitriol, often driven by disinformation and amplified by midnight keyboard warriors. Tonight I make this call. For 2026 and beyond, let us prioritize genuine and meaningful acts of kindness. Kindness that brings people together and lifts people up, that greets a stranger, that offers words of support, that connects one and all. Over the many years that I have been in the Western Cape and in Western Cape politics, I have seen so much change. But one thing remains the same: you, the people of this great province, and your resilience and kindness. The last few years have been tough for many people across our country, South Africa. Increasing financial pressures, failing infrastructure, and a service delivery system, soaring costs of living and fewer jobs. Crime is running rampant, with the scourge of gangsterism, extortion, and gender-based violence tearing apart lives, families, and communities. It is becoming harder to get ahead or simply stay afloat. It is now more important than ever that every sphere of government works tirelessly to turn the economic tide. Speaker, since the formation of the Government of National Unity, we are starting to turn that tide. We are turning a corner. The country has taken or has been taken off the grey list. Fuel prices are coming down. So is inflation. Our inflation rate is at a 21-year low. And the rand is stronger than it has been for many years. Speaker, There are green shoots of economic revival, and these are most welcome. But, Speaker, here in the Western Cape, economic growth doubled over the last 5 years. Growth projections show the Western Cape growing even faster in 2026, well above the national expectations. To illustrate this, nearly 90% of all jobs created in South Africa over the last 5 years were created here in the Western Cape. These are net jobs, 90% of all net jobs. That means of the 404,712 total net jobs created.
Honourable Premier, my apologies. Can I just please take your seat? Can I please remind the members or the guests in the gallery or invited guests that you may not participate in the proceedings of the House. So, Honourable Premier, my apologies. I just thought it's important to get that right at the beginning.
Thank you, Speaker. I thought the clapping was quite nice. But I'll leave that to the members. Thank you very much, Speaker. So getting back on track, that means that 404,712 total net jobs created in the last 5 years, 360,347 of them come from this province, the Western Cape. To put it another way, for every 10 people that got a job over the last 5 years in our country, 9 of them came from this province. Speaker, we are determined to do even more, because here at the tip of Africa, there is a place where we get things done. To me, success is simple. It is a government that works for you at every stage of your life. This is a vision that I believe all of us, regardless of political affiliation or ideological standpoint, should be working towards. It is our young people starting well and being afforded every opportunity to grow up and be healthy and strong. It is a family sitting around a table sharing a meal that they can comfortably afford in the dignity of their own home. It is about an adult resident living healthy, productive, and independent lives. Our residents enjoying their final years with dignity and peace. That is the vision that every one of us should be striving for. It is a safe neighborhood where children are free to play cricket and hockey in clean streets, supported by caring communities. It is a functional municipality with excellent services, infrastructure is maintained, and corruption is not tolerated. At the tip of Africa, there is a place with a thriving economy and even more jobs. Speaker, our apex priority, growth and jobs. Growth and jobs are the cornerstone of that vision, because nothing fixes a life like a job. Nothing builds dignity like a job. Nothing puts food on your table like a job. And as I always say, Speaker, nothing stops a bullet like a job. 93,000 new jobs were created in this province in the last quarter alone. Unemployment in the Western Cape is now down to 18.1%, the lowest in South Africa and vastly below the national unemployment average of 31.4%. Now, Speaker, ek sien die gehoor is baie gehoorsaam. Speaker, 18%. I mean, a friend of mine sent me a note when I was celebrating the 18% unemployment rate, and he said to me, there's not many politicians in the world that would celebrate an 18% unemployment rate. And that's true, because 18% is just way too high. 18% is something that no politician should celebrate. But in our country and in our province, unemployment is a big issue for so many people. And for me in our province, we celebrated when we got it below 20% and then sustained that below 20%. So when it comes to 19%, I get quite excited. And when it drops to 18%, I get even more excited. And now, to the members of my cabinet, DG, the officials, 10% must surely be the next horizon. We will keep pushing for better numbers. Speaker, 48,000 of those new jobs were in trade, including hospitality. That is a hotel concierge in Oudtshoorn who can now buy his daughter a new school uniform. That is a new shop assistant in Bredasdorp who can feed her family. 22,000 jobs were in agriculture. That is a grape picker in Worcester who can now buy herself a new dress. That is a cannery worker in Ashton that can buy a bus ticket to visit his mom in Beaufort West. And 22,000 new jobs were created in the construction industry. That is a quantity surveyor in Plettenberg Bay who can buy his first car, or a carpenter in Hermanus who can put a deposit down on his first home. Speaker, there were 13,000 new jobs in manufacturing, and so that is a welder in Saldanha Bay who can buy his son a new soccer ball or send his daughter to trade school. These job numbers are made possible by business growth and good governance. It's a partnership between government and business. Since 2022, the number of small businesses have grown by 143,119. I'll say it again. After 2022, the new number of small businesses in this province went up by 143,119. That is a 55% growth in SMMEs in this province, and that compared to only an 18% growth in South Africa. In this province, more entrepreneurs want to take risks, and we absolutely support that. The Western Cape government supports growth by cutting red tape, by providing tailor-made business support. Our SMME Accelerator Support Program partners with the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, thanks Minister, to strengthen the investment readiness of small businesses. The program recruited over 200 businesses with funding readiness support that matched 115 of these businesses directly with a range of funders over the past 2 years. We have launched the inaugural Tech Talks series, where 150 businesses obtained practical guidance on technology adoption, notably artificial intelligence, helping small businesses harness innovation for growth. This government is always innovating. Our Department of Economic Development and Tourism, under the leadership of Minister Ivan Meyer, is spearheading the establishment of the first commercial drones and UAV testing sandbox op die Weskus. Baie dankie minister. Hierdie gee die geleentheid vir al nuwe maatskappye wat drone tegnologie gebruik. Nie net vir landbou, maar vir die ekonomie, vir veiligheid. Daar is soveel geleenthede, and we see it happening around the world, so let's create the right ecosystem here for those businesses to grow. In the aerospace industry, which sometimes I get shocked at when I look at these numbers, 20% of all satellites circumnavigating our planet have some component from the Cape. 20%. Around this planet of ours, something comes from the Cape Province, from the Western Cape. That is quite unbelievable. The Western Cape has a booming boat building industry, where we produce vessels with cutting-edge technology. So it's not just satellites, it's boats. The Western Cape also has front and center in driving the revitalization of the country's ailing logistics sector. Our government fully supports Operation Vulindlela as a critical national reform program to unlock economic growth, create jobs, and modernize this country's economy. We welcome the measures that will relax competition rules and for the country's rail and ports network. We will play our part to enable private sector participation in these ports, within our rail system, because that's how we will become more efficient. That's how we will beat other regions in competitiveness. We have to get that part right, and that's why we are so fully in support of Vulindlela. The Western Cape government will welcome private operators and investors into our ports with open arms. Our Mobility Department, under Minister Isaac Seleku, has expanded the role of the Ports Project Management Unit, the PMU. It was initially created just for supporting Cape Town, or Cape Town Port. It is now encompassing Saldanha Port, Mossel Bay Port. This will enable our province-wide freight coordination ecosystem. And the railway tracks of government will continue to advance the freight rail revitalization framework that will link the Overberg to our ports. And Minister, I saw that you've just had an announcement with the working group. I thank you for that. It shows you don't just meet with people, bring them together, that action comes after that, and that's exactly what we need to get right in our province. Minister, I also, along with you, and as I'm sure so many residents of Mitchell's Plain, celebrate the Central Line being opened again. That, along with PRASA, we thank them, because that is how you bring people to jobs, children or learners to school, and how you relieve congestion on our roads. Building on the success of the Job Seekers Travel Voucher, another project coming from your department and the program in Cape Town, I'm delighted to announce that this will expand here in George this year, including the residents of Thembalethu, Packlesdorp, Blanco, and Levikum. And perhaps those of you that don't know what this is, a job seeker voucher is where a young person gets a voucher, 10 trips at least, on a bus system where they can go to an interview, they've got the transport paid for. If they get a job the first week, they can go to work without borrowing money to get repaid when they get their first salary check at the end of the week. That voucher gives a massive opportunity, and I think it's going to make a big difference for young people here in this region. Speaker, building on the success of the it is fantastic that this job seeker voucher is also going to be included in our Go George service. And looking at the numbers, 6 million passenger trips in the last year. And I think that is outstanding. This is one of the most utilized integrated public transport systems in South Africa now. The bus service now operating to Thembalethu, and it will be expanded this year to Uniondale as well. Thank you very much for that. Speaker, I must now get to other opportunities specifically for young people, and I now talk about the rollout of our free Wi-Fi hotspots. In this province, we now have 1,600 free Wi-Fi hotspots. In this municipality, there are 60 free Wi-Fi hotspots, and those 60 hotspots give citizens access to 6 gigabytes of data free every month. It was really amazing yesterday to attend to pop into our mobile e-center. And the mobile e-center is a bus. It was built by artisans right here in this very municipality in George. And what really stood out for me was the number of young people who were making use of this facility. When I first got there must have been 60, 70 young people queuing outside the e-center to get in front of a computer, to get free Wi-Fi downloads, to be able to get their CV printed. That for me was really amazing. And DG, I really am happy today to announce that we are going to be building 2 more of those buses. So we will have 3 in the fleet coming up in this next year. And that takes these opportunities to the furthest, most remote points of our province, where we don't have broadband connectivity, where this bus can go and make services available for our citizens. Speaker, I also want to say that in the ability to grow our economy in this last year, we had a really successful inaugural Western Cape Investment Conference. And we had a multi-billion rand deal book, because I remember in the discussion with Minister Mayer that we're not going to just go there empty-handed. We are going to have a book of projects that enable investors to find tangible investment opportunities. And opportunities from a deal book have to then end up in financial close, have to get deals and due diligence done. And I am happy that your department has reported to me that there are 5 projects now nearing financial close just a few months after that conference. One of them, a 600 million rand green hydrogen investment. One is a 1.8 billion rand manufacturing sector investment, a 105 million rand tech industry investment, a 250 million rand green economy electric vehicle investment, and a 400 million rand solar energy investment. These investments are what create jobs. These investments are on the back of that good governance, that business confidence. And thank you very much. I know that everybody was worried that we were going to call another investment conference within a year, but I think within 2 years we can probably call it again. At the same time, Speaker, we're seeing massive investment into our cities and towns, with over 9 billion rand invested last year just in the CBD of the city of Cape Town. A further 24 billion rand set to be invested in mixed-use development at Granger Bay next to the waterfront, or part of the waterfront expansion. And we're seeing this investment not only in Cape Town, but also across our municipalities. Last year, the value of building plans passed in the Western Cape grew to almost 35 billion, the highest in the country. Gauteng, a double the size population of this province, and was a double the size economy of this province, only managed 28.2 billion. So it shows you that the systems are working, the planning departments are working, the plans are getting approved, and they are being approved on the back of business confidence because people are applying to have plans passed and make investments. It's not only investments that are growing, but our exports too. The Western Cape has recorded a 49% increase in total exports over 3 years, from 43.1 billion to 64.1 billion. Next week, through our trade and investment agency, Westgrow, the Western Cape will be hosting a Made in the Cape buyers program. This will be at the CTICC, where our product manufacturers can actually meet buyers from around the world, and this enables us to get our products onto shelves across the world. Through our Department of Economic Development and Tourism, we are actively exploring other export markets across the world, from Africa to Europe, the Far East, and the Middle East. We are the jobs province. People move here for better services, better delivery, and for economic opportunity. We welcome investors, risk takers, and opportunity seekers. It is this growth that pours into communities, provides jobs and livelihoods. At the tip of Africa, this is a place where growth enables development. The Western Cape is working at getting things done. Speaker, tourism. It's another powerful economic driver in our province. It has been yet another bumper tourism season, with over 11 million two-way passengers coming through the Cape Town International Airport in 2025. Cape Town's International Airport had the busiest December on record. We're now seeing more than 200 international flights touching down every single week in Cape Town. We look forward to AXA getting to work on upgrading their terminal buildings. That could be up to an 11 billion rand increase in or investment into those buildings. And this is on the back of the air access project that we've been running for years now with Westgrow in partnership with the City of Cape Town. We're seeing increased flights out of the US, increased flights out of South America, Sao Paulo, Atlanta, and of course across Africa. We are equally excited about the planning progress, not only of Cape Town International, but also the Winelands Airport, a private sector investment where billions is also being spent on a new airport in the Winelands region. And this will inject far more opportunities into the economy, create a more competitive space for airlift, and it will just see our economy go to the next level. But Speaker, it's not only in Cape Town, it's here in George. The local airport recorded its best year yet in 2025, with almost 1 million two-way passengers, which is fueling the local economies of George and the surrounding towns. Speaker, we believe in data and evidence that enables us to make decisions, but it also enables businesses to make decisions. And one of the data points coming out of this festive season or holiday season that really stood out for me was data that comes from one of the payment providers, Yoko. Also, a tech company, homegrown, an entrepreneur that built a company that I think is going to rival many financial companies across this continent. Now, their data showed that during December 2025, Cape Town, Stellenbosch, and Plettenberg Bay, the city and two smaller cities, they accounted for 67% of all international visitor payments across the country. So they measured across South Africa, those three municipalities. In those three municipalities, 67% of all credit card payments from international clients, with 500 million rand during that period flowing into those local businesses in those towns. That creates growth, opportunity, and more jobs. This is a Cape Town pastry chef who gets a permanent role in a new bakery. This is a Stellenbosch wine guide who can pay off his student loan. This is a mountain bike mechanic in Plettenberg Bay who can make the final payment on his business loan, and then his business can grow. Not only airlift, but on our seas, Cruise Cape Town, powered by Wesgro, has been developing a strong cruise economy in the Western Cape. During the 2024-25 cruise season, this sector created over 1,000 jobs and contributed 1.8 billion to the province's GDP, up 18% from the previous year. Passengers spent more, they spent 32% more than the previous season. And the cruise line terminal in Cape Town is not only just benefiting Cape Town, because these cruise lines are stopping in Mossel Bay, they're stopping in Hermanus, they're stopping in Saldanha Bay, they're stopping in Plettenberg Bay. That is how the cruise line business is not only helping the city, but helping our coastal towns as well. Speaker, our innovative spirit and drive towards infrastructure-led development hinges on a provincial treasury that is nimble. Thanks to the leadership of Minister Deirdre Baartman, steering the financial ship, our treasury noted that government spending in the last year saw 5 billion flowing to women-owned companies, 34% of all procurement. Let that sink in. 5 billion, 34% of all procurement went to women-owned companies in our province, and nearly 4 billion flowing to SMMEs. These numbers are an indication of a focused government at work supporting growth and jobs. And Speaker, while talking about SMMEs and business, I look across the room and I see Dr. Willie Saliers, and as a business chamber leader, not only here in George but across the region, I want to recognize you and all of the business chambers in our province to say thank you. If we build that partnership between government and business, we can only get stronger. We can only understand what those blockages are, and that is how you build an economy. This doesn't just happen. This is slow, incremental progress, working together, and it enables a growth environment that is actually making a difference for every single citizen in this province. Speaker, growth is also about how infrastructure is invested in. We have a potent growth and spatial redress enabler in infrastructure investment. At the tip of Africa, there is a place where cranes dot the skies across the cities and towns, telling a story of a province that is growing. In 2025, the construction sector in the Western Cape created 57,341 jobs, a powerful indicator of the confidence in our economy, which saw the value of completed buildings grow by nearly 34%. During April to December 2025, and over and above the 93,000 jobs created in the last quarter, a further 78,000 EPWP job opportunities were created. And specifically, I want to thank Minister Simmers for that. And often when we put the data out there about the jobs numbers, I get people coming back and saying, those 93,000 new jobs in the last quarter, they don't really mean anything because they're EPWP jobs. No, those are jobs in the economy. Those are jobs in the SME sector and in the formal business sector. On top of that 93,000, you add the other 78,000 opportunities. That's not a full-time job, we know that. But that is a step up. That is an enable you to learn a skill and be more employable. Speaker, infrastructure development and importantly the maintenance thereof is the backbone of the Western Cape's economy and a foundation for sustainable growth. And when we invest in roads, ports, energy, water and digital networks, we unlock opportunities for businesses to grow, trade to flow and jobs to be created. Last year, our Department of Infrastructure, headed by Minister Simmers, convened the first Western Cape Infrastructure Ministerial Committee. This committee is driving the implementation of the Western Cape's Infrastructure 2050 framework. So the Minister has put together a long-term vision and then the committee which brings all of the departments and role players in the economy together to make sure that we're holding everybody account and we are actually delivering what we say we're delivering by when and by who. This is how you hold everyone to account and you move forward so that you end up with the kind of job numbers that we have. It helps to create an enabling environment for the establishment of new and innovative partnerships across 3 spheres of government and the private sector, selected development finance institutions, and specialized infrastructure agencies. It shows our focus on sustainable futures and this for all of our residents. The Department of Infrastructure has also developed a first-of-a-kind single integrated pipeline of infrastructure projects in the Western Cape to the value of 152 billion rand, with 52 projects already investment ready. In the coming months, the Department of Infrastructure will launch a roads app, and Minister, you tabled the draft of it at Cabinet, and I'm looking forward to that app going live in March, an AI-powered assistant designed to enhance residents' interaction with the department and further improve the quality of our roads. This is using technology to actually make us even more responsive and able to increase the quality of our already great roads. Included in infrastructure is housing. Dignity is found in many places, but few are more important than a home. We do not just build houses, we are building hope, access and opportunities one brick at a time. At the tip of Africa, there is a place where over 213,000 housing opportunities have been created since we came to government, directly benefiting some 850,000 people. Following the successful Conradie Park development, which is now in phase 2, the year ahead will see a further 1,225 residential units completed, bringing safe and dignified housing to more families. And what's more is now, with the Department of Infrastructure, the Department of Education, and our EduInvest desk at Westgrove, Apex Education has now invested at Conradie Park and now partnered with us, and we now have a new Apex school called Pinelands Apex School. That is really great news. It adds to the already existing school and the number of creches that are there. It shows you when you invest, you create an ecosystem and you build a better opportunity for everyone. This was facilitated by EduInvest, a catalyst project powered by Westgrove and the Western Cape government. And if anybody thinks or knows of anybody who wants to invest into private schooling, please use that opportunity. EduInvest is set up for that specific task. Speaker, the National Minister of Land Reform and Rural Development has committed to the next phase of District 6, a partnership with the City of Cape Town, and this I really welcome. The Minister came and agreed last week with the City to take this specific space, District 6, to the next level and give it that next investment. I also said to the Minister, We want to take you to Conradi Park, show you what it looks like. Because if we can not just do the next stage of District 6, if we can create real living ecosystems like Conradi Park and develop the rest of District 6 in that way, we really create opportunities and we really are correcting the real injustices of the past. The Western Cape government is actively bringing residents close to economic opportunities in the city of Cape Town or in the centre city. And the development that we have already announced called the Leo Loop development. Minister, thank you very much. You said you would get it done, and you have got it done. This is 341 social housing units. The processes are complete, and the construction commences later this year. The second one is that we are making progress on is Founders Garden, and I see the same energy going into it. This is 1,178 social housing opportunities. Founders Garden, for those of you who don't know, it is between the Artscape and the Convention Centre, right next to the Christian Barnard Hospital. It is a perfect space for specifically affordable housing units. And that is also due to be, or making progress and due to be completed in the bidding process later this year. So hopefully we go to construction next year. In 2025, we delivered over 1,000 finance-linked individual subsidies. These are FLISP houses, and this came to first-time homeowners who earn less than 22,000 Rand a month. And thank you, Minister, we are ramping that up, and this year we are going to give 3,000 residents an opportunity in the FLISP process to own their own homes. Just nearby where we are today at Ebenezer Housing Project in Beto, it is well underway with the first phase delivering 204 housing opportunities, and I see 1,433 which will now be coming in the next phase. This is real dignity here in the Garden Ridge. Speaker, we cannot talk about infrastructure here in George without acknowledging the horrific 2024 building collapse. I can now confirm that the South African Police Services have completed their investigation into all aspects of the disaster, including the peer-reviewed report that we handed to SABC early last year. The case docket is now with the National Prosecuting Authority for a decision on prosecution. Speaker, after 2 years, it is time for justice. When am I doing it? That's the National Prosecuting Authority. You're welcome to ask the National Prosecuting Authority to come to the Standing Committee. I don't know how they will deal with that, but you can welcome to ask them.
Order.
Speaker.
Order.
Roads. At the tip of Africa, this is a place with roads that are well maintained and the envy of other provinces. In 2025, 24,549 kilometers of gravel roads were maintained and 269,000 square meters of surface roads resealed. All these road projects translated to a further 4,645 work opportunities, and these were created last year. We will keep on investing in our roads with over 2,275,000 square meters of roads set for maintenance this year, creating thousands more work opportunities. Thank you, Minister. Our infrastructure push this year will gather more momentum with several flagship projects. I'm thinking of, or I've been told of, the further N1 Wingfield project. That's an 11 billion rand project and well on its way. The R300 Ring Road project, the completion of that. But of course, I saw you visited shortly, I think it was yesterday, the George Western Bypass. These are big road infrastructure investments that actually are forward-looking and will make a big difference for the economy into the future. Speaker, safety on our roads is critically important, which is why our provincial law enforcement teams can be seen working hard across the province. In February alone, there have been more than 450 integrated vehicle checkpoints with over 70,000 vehicles checked. And I joined the minister last night or yesterday evening, and what did stand out for me was the number of vehicles stopped that had smooth tires. Just one thing, smooth tires. Now, that is an accident waiting to happen. And so this is where we need responsibility. It's not for our traffic officers to point that out to you. It is for every one of us to take the responsibility to check our vehicles before we put them on the road. That is how we build the safer province that the minister has to answer on. Speaker, I can also announce one more thing in this department's environment, which is, and I'm sure many of you would have read those reports of how arms and drugs come into this province. There's a report that tells you how the guns come from Namibia down the N7, and that's what fuels the gang warfares that kill our children. So this province is going to be procuring 2 radar scanners. These are going to be mobile scanners that can be placed anywhere in the province. These scanners, the trucks will drive through, and that radar scanner will be able to pick up if there are arms buried underneath the truck somewhere, if there are false compartments. Think of child trafficking, think of moving of illicit traded products. That's what these scanners are going to uncover. This is going to help with our crime fighting capability. So, Minister, let's get them procured. Speaker, at the tip of Africa, there is a place where provincial law enforcement is protecting key industries such as agriculture. Right now, more so than ever before. Agriculture in the Western Cape is responsible for about 21% of the national employment in this sector. Both agriculture and agri-processing combined contributed 250,000 jobs last year and grew at 9% higher than in any other province. That's 2.5 times the inflation rate. That is how you bring down unemployment. That is how you grow an economy. In 2025, the Provincial Department of Agriculture, led by Minister Ivan Meyer, has contributed or has continued to increase our exports that now go to 78 countries. Our province now accounts for 58% of South Africa's total agricultural exports. As part of this, we also have the ecological infrastructure projects, incorporating river protection works and invasive alien clearing and rehabilitation, because water and agriculture go together. 16,000 hectares of land, which has potential to augment 113 million cubic meters of water supply. This has been cleared out of our rivers, and this is equivalent to another Berg River. That is how much water these kind of programs save us. Speaker, biosecurity threats and disasters such as foot and mouth disease pose a serious risk to our farmers and the Western Cape's economy. 13.5 billion rands worth of economy linked directly to the dairy industry and the meat industry in our province. I'm not going to say too much about this because I'll leave that to Minister Meyer tomorrow when he will give nuts and bolts of the plan and what we are working on. But we are happy that it has been declared a disaster, and in the last 2.5 weeks, this province has taken it very seriously. We have put roadblocks up, we have drafted regulation and sent them to the National Department, we have picked up cases, we vaccinate in those areas, in the 10-kilometer radius around, and specifically here in this region. The dairy industry has been impacted, and our vets and our teams have moved in super fast. And I just know that we've got to keep pushing for more regulation, for more management, but I've got no doubt between the two ministers that are actually sitting together there, Minister Bradell and Minister Meyer, who between the two of them are managing this disaster, that we will get on top of it and protect this industry. And we will also then protect food security in this region and those export jobs that it drives. Speaker, our environment is precious, whether it be natural wide open spaces, farmlands, or our inner city waterways. Climate change and the environment are a key component of our place and our economy and our being. Addressing climate change is not only an environmental priority, it is also an economic imperative. We see the impact of the crisis that climate change brings. It has no borders. It does not keep timetables. Each year, its impact becomes more evident with heavy rains, storm surges, flooding, heat waves, and now, as we are seeing in some regions, drought. Over the last 2 months, we have seen areas going from being ravaged by wildfires to washed out by rainstorms. These extreme weather events are driven by climate change. This crisis is undeniable. We were looking the other day at the water report, it was actually last night, and 2% was the dam level just 2 months ago in Swellen Dam. 2% at crisis level. Today, as I stand here, it's at 80%. It can change in 2 months. Those photographs that you might have seen of the water rushing under the bridge that washed away on the N2 not so long ago, or the water rushing under the bridge in Lanesburg, just shows you from dry to abundance of water, and within a few weeks it'll be back at dry again. There are some brilliant organizations supporting communities to become resilient in the face of climate change. The Greater Overberg Fire Protection Association supports communities and organizations to develop fire plans and manage risks. The manager, Louise Wessels, is here. Thank you, Louise. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for how you support the whole Overberg. We are very proud of what you've achieved. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Speaker, I would also like to recognize the firefighters and the people of Mossel Bay and the Garden Route. If we think about the Jock and the firefighters in this region who spent so much time protecting lives and fighting the devastating fires earlier this year. We see you, we recognize you, and we applaud you. Speaker, this region, like many others across our province, is facing serious water challenges. And just as we act with urgency to overcome load shedding, we will bring the same vigor, focus, and energy to securing our water future. At the tip of Africa, this is a place that is on track to secure an additional 310 million cubic meters of water by 2035. To conserve this precious resource, we have invested over 250 million rand that has enabled local government. Our investment enables local government to invest billions over and above that into their own water infrastructure. For example, not so far from here, the Plettenberg Bay desalination plant has been working tirelessly through the holiday season to make sure that they did not run out of water. In George, they've invested into new water systems, dam walls, sewerage systems, and more. The Department of Local Government and Environmental Affairs and Development Planning, under the leadership of Minister Burdell, are working hard with stakeholders in every sphere of government to achieve our bold water resilience goals. The raising of the Clan William Dam is well underway, and once completed, will add another 69.5 million cubic meters of water to the system per year. This will enable thousands of hectares of agriculture, but it will also enable water security for all of those towns downstream. We are assisting municipalities with large infrastructure projects such as pipeline upgrades in the Overstrand, reservoir construction in Saldanha Bay, and increasing the treatment capacity of the water treatment works in Voelvlei, Swartland. Through our steady and consistent investment in our disaster management network, we have built up a world-class system that can respond to each disaster speedily and professionally. Speaker, the fire season and fire seasons are getting longer and more costly. The Department of Local Government and Environmental Affairs and Development Planning invested over 30 million rand last year just into the fire services and augmentation of aerial firefighting resources. That's 27 helicopters and spotter planes on standby during this fire season. We have also enabled the purchase of high-impact firefighting vehicles in the Swartland, Bito municipality, and the Garden Route District municipality. But Speaker, 97% of all wildfires are started by humans, either through negligence or intentionally. Arsonists that have been, or suspects that have started fires have been arrested in the Drakenstein municipality region and in the Overstrand municipality region. And we must say it and make it clear that arsonists must face the full might of the law. We cannot be putting our men and women who are the heroes, who cannot put their lives at stake every single time when arsonists start fires. And we've seen it. These fires run for days and are really, really tough to manage. Disaster management is made possible by some of the bravest and most dedicated people you will ever meet. Whether they are bombing fires from the air, responding to floods, or helping to rescue people in natural man-made disasters, these women and men are first to arrive on the scene and the last to leave. In the wake of some of the worst fires in the province that we've seen now in recent years, I would like to recognize the incredible work of the Overberg Fire Service. Tonight, we have the Overberg Fire Chief here, and I see him in full uniform. Reinhard Geldenhuys, can I ask you to perhaps just stand? Thank you. And I know that it's difficult to single one person out when so many people across our province have done such amazing things. But Minister Bradell keeps my phone very busy with all of the big issues that our province faces, and in the last while, probably lots of data points on fires. And what really stands out for me was when the fires were approaching Elam. And the message was, Elam is gone. I saw photographs of people standing with hose pipes on their thatched roofs. We saw these fires just raging all around. I saw the disaster team saying, we've got to get the biggest, best resources we can find. And I think you call it the Black Hawk helicopter. And with the management of the air support, with the firefighters on the ground, you managed to save that historical village that is so important to us here in the Western Cape. So you and the whole team, huge gratitude. Thank you very much. Speaker, this is just one example during the fire season. I visited the Jock in Mossel Bay after these fires where we lost so many homes and where the firefighters fought day and night to see what the men and women did during that period. And it really is, it's a huge thank you to every single firefighter, to every citizen that supports our firefighters. And this is from Cedarburg to Mossel Bay, from Franschhoek to Dunoon and Masipumalele, to Caledon, to more and more. Thank you, thank you. Now, Speaker, moving on from fires, I want to move to energy. At the tip of Africa, there is a place driving energy security for its residents. In the 2025-26 year, the Department of Local Government committed 46 million rand to enhance municipal energy security in the Western Cape. Through our Provincial Energy Resilience Program, 819 megawatts had been added. A further 19,000 megawatts last year and coming into this year, busy being added. The power landscape is changing in the Western Cape, and we are less reliant on Eskom. Sorry, Mr. Yedwa, but thank you very much for being here. We are less reliant on Eskom. We are becoming more resilient as we rely on our independent power producers. Speaker, in the same way that we have addressed our energy challenges, we have seized with the other challenge, and that is the safety of our residents. Speaker, the heinous crimes that take place daily and are eating away at the fabric of our society. Imagine the anxiety for a mother who is waiting for her child to get home as the sun is beginning to set. Imagine school children walking past bullet-riddled bodies. But this is so abnormal. Speaker, what I was going to do now is I was going to take out my phone and play you a sound clip. I was going to play you a sound clip that was recorded by a Member of Parliament, Ian Cameron, on the Cape Flats last year, of bullets flying everywhere, of a gang shootout. I was going to put it on full volume and hold it against this microphone so that you could all hear what it's like to live on the Cape Flats where the gangs are running wild. But in the testing of the mics today and playing those bullets flying, I thought we probably would have had a barrage of police officers running in here. And the discussion we had with the team was that I should probably just talk about it. But maybe you can think about what that would be like. I don't know if we actually can imagine it. But we also thought about those of you who do live in areas like that, and that would probably trigger a massive trauma in you. So I've just spoken about it. I've just said that's what I would have liked to have done. But what I would also like to do is, Speaker, if you would allow me to ask this full House to observe a moment of silence for the men, women, children, and babies that have been injured and killed at the hands of criminals in this province. And Minister Seleku just sent me a message a short while ago to say that in taxi violence in Atlantis, a 14-year-old schoolchild has just been shot. Can I ask for a moment's silence? Amen. Thank you very much.
Please be seated.
Speaker, the levels of violence in our province and across the entire country are literally turning many communities into war zones with long-term consequences that fuel substance abuse, affect our literacy levels, fuel unemployment, and impact mental health. The daily struggle for dignity and the opportunity amongst gang gunfire is a national shame. The cost of crime in South Africa is immense. The entire country is grappling with this cancer, with over 345 people murdered in this province in January alone. Over the last 30 years, there has been no real meaningful investment into safety from national government, no new prisons, no new courthouses, no upgrading of the criminal justice system, nothing meaningful that has dealt an impact or a blow to the horrors that our citizens face. And Speaker, while we are cautiously supportive of the military deployment, it's surely an admission that SAP's leadership is failing to combat crime effectively. I do welcome it. I've engaged with the police minister to say we must learn the lessons from 2019 when the military was deployed. They were deployed for a few months. We saw an initial effect, but we can only use the force multiplier if we do it together. We've got to make sure that SAP's in control, has got the intelligence, has got the gang unit, has got our local law enforcement, is using the neighborhood watches and the CPFs, is making sure that the whole of government is approaching us, the whole of society is approaching this, so that this intervention has traction and has meaning. I hope that the minister has heard us. I've also said to him that this reform, we want to see the inclusion of regulation change, of law enforcement enabled to investigate crimes. And I've said to him, I've even given him the legislation. We've written it for him. I've said this is the process. It's not about the overall devolution ask. This is about how can we help you with investigations. And we need to make sure, Minister, that this happens. We need to make sure we see this province getting safer. Because if it does not, if we don't see the movement, then we will have no option but to institute court action. We will have no option but to go the full intergovernmental dispute process, because it is unacceptable. SABC is underfunded. SABC does not have the resources that they need. When I came into power as the Premier, when I was elected in 2019, we had 20,000 SABC officers in this province. We now have 12,500 active SABC officers in our province. That is unacceptable. We need to make sure SABC is resourced. You know that the VIP protection unit that protects politicians in our country gets a budget of 4 billion rand every year. It's actually 4.2 billion if you look at the real numbers. 4.2 billion rand a year. But you know that the anti-gang unit in the whole country gets an operational budget of 30 million. What we spent on firefighting over the fire season, the whole anti-gang unit. So there needs to be a serious rethink. And I know that in the budget speech just tabled today in Parliament, I see there's an extra billion put to intelligence, and I absolutely welcome that. 1 billion. We need much more than that. But we stand here to help. We want to be part of it. And the area that we really want to help in is investigations. Because when SAPs do all the work that they do and they arrest someone, we get less than 5% conviction. Less than 5%. Our investigators are under-resourced. And I know this not because of Minister Marais' policing needs and priorities. I know this from my own visits to police stations. I was in the Kraaifontein police station the other day and had all the stats. But afterwards, with our team in engaging with the investigators, the detectives, they've got 30 detectives in that police station. Of the 30 detectives, they have one computer, one email address, and that's in the captain's office. If the captain's not there, the office is locked and there's no email communication with any of those detectives. Those detectives do not one of them, have an official cell phone. Not one. How are you supposed to investigate? You know that if you're in the financial crimes unit there, no one has a laptop, no one has a computer. Financial crimes need investigations looking at bank statements, looking at spreadsheets, looking at financial transactions. They cannot do it. I had the same experience visiting the Khayelitsha police station. They've got more investigators. They at least have, of 90 investigators, 5 phones that they've got to share. They also have one computer that's very slow that they've got to deal with their emails. Mitchell's Plain, a presidential designated police station to fight crime and gangsterism, doesn't have the resources that it needs. It doesn't have the management structure, the captains and the colonels, and it does not have the support to their investigations unit. And that's where we want to help. We will put investigators in place, we'll put money in place, we will just do investigations where the LEAP officers take firearms off the streets away from gangsters. Let's start there. If it works, well, so be it, and we'll expand it. If it doesn't work, Minister, shut it down. We've tried something. Another thing that we are busy with is following on the global initiative investment that took place in Grassy Park. In Grassy Park, the global initiative based out of Geneva that fight gangsterism across the planet, they looked at our system and they added a lawyer to the police station in Grassy Park. This lawyer then enabled the police to get dockets that would stand up in court. Also another layer, not just the investigators, the original docket, when the citizen comes to complain about a crime. Initially, the police didn't trust the lawyer, the citizens didn't trust the lawyer, but the lawyer built trust over time, and now the police officers want the lawyer in the room because the docket is able to be handed over to the court system. The citizens trust the lawyer because they know that they're going to get a proper docket and there's a chance of a conviction. Now, we've taken this and Minister Murray, along with the Mitchell's Plain project, is going to put 2 lawyers through partnership with the Global Initiative in the Mitchell's Plain police station, so we can start getting quality dockets delivered in that police station. Let's start there, one bite at a time. We will eat this elephant. And Speaker, while our population continues to grow, the number of SAPS officers continue to decline. This negligence is utterly nefarious, and as a Premier of this province, I find myself questioning how this situation exists every day. How can I be that? How can it be that those responsible for addressing crime and corruption do not tackle this problem with the proper budgets and the proper leadership? And perhaps there I must also welcome the President's announcement that our SAPS officers that sit around the top table in management are now going to be subjected to lifestyle audits. So it's not just the Cabinet, it is also the top management in our police system. If you remember the Judge Tulare judgment that said that gangsters sit at the top table. Now that was one of the first suggestions made to me, is let's have lifestyle audits. Let's see who's getting something in the back pocket, who's got a Ferrari in his wife's name, or whatever payment he's getting or she's getting through the gang system. And I really welcome that. We need it to happen decisively and quickly, because let's cut out the bad apples, because we have some really good policemen and women in our system. Those need to be supported. We need to build trust for them, and we need to enable the management to enable us to build safer societies. We are doing everything within our power and our mandate to address crime, both in terms of prevention and reduction. Many residents have critical information about gangsters and drug activity going on in their community, but have no safe way to share this information without compromising their safety. If we want to stop gangsterism and violent crime, then we need to create a safe way for people to provide information that we are able to then give it to the investigators, to the police themselves, to the now extra support going to intelligence services. And so to that end, I'm glad to announce today a further partnership with the Global Initiative. This is the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, who already do excellent work in producing a document that we use extensively in the Western Cape called the Western Cape Gang Monitor. Those of you who are members of this Parliament, I'm sure, know this Gang Monitor well. So the announcement today is that we are going to be establishing now something called a Gang Observatory. This will be run by them, enabling anonymized spaces for citizens to give us detail of where that drug dealer is, where that gangster is, where those guns are. And through that process, let's try it and let's see if we can help the intelligence system to actually utilize what everyone seems to know. When you walk through the streets of these gang-infested areas, everyone knows who's who, but are too scared to say anything because they know that they will be shot. Speaker, over the last term, our Police Oversight and Community Safety Minister, Minister Anra Murray, has demonstrated that a new data-driven and technology-enabled model for policing can make real change in people's lives. Where our 994 LEAP officers are deployed, we typically see decreases in murder, and initiatives like ShotSpotter help us to target violent criminals and have them arrested. We also have canine units, and the canine units are fully operational in Mossel Bay, Overstrand and Swartland. And there are plans, Minister, and thank you for that, to open one now, or expand it now, to Stellenbosch. These units support law enforcement agencies in combating drug trafficking, illegal firearms, and transport of stolen and illicit goods. This past year, our law enforcement support program, which focuses on rural safety, saw law enforcement and peace officers deployed to Laingsburg, Cederberg, Berg River, Hessequa, Oudtshoorn, Drakenstein, Stellenbosch, Matsikama, and right here in George. This year, the program will expand to a further 7 municipalities. This, since 2022-23 financial year, saw 528 law enforcement and police support officers deployed to 24 municipalities across the province. Thank you. Speaker, our provincial safety personnel often work alongside neighbourhood watch groups. private security, community policing forums, and farm patrols. We owe a massive debt of gratitude to the thousands of men and women who form part of the community safety groups across our province. You are the eyes and ears while many of us are inside our homes or at work. Thank you for your sacrifice, your courage, and your dedication. Tonight, Mr. Rupert Pretorius is here. There he is. Rupert is the coordinator of all 18 neighbourhood watches that fall in the George Sapp Station area and has been involved with Neighbourhood Watch since 2013. During this year, he has been involved in solving several crimes across numerous precincts. Thank you very much for your dedication, for your management, and for being that citizen amongst our citizens who give freely of their time to build a safer society. Thank you. We have to prove to our youth that there are ways out of poverty that don't force you to surrender your life to drugs, violence, and gangs. Violence prevention, in safety terms, focuses on the proactive programs that address the root cause of crime and early intervention to prevent harm before it occurs. It is about working with young people to give them optimism beyond a life on the streets. And Speaker, that is where one of our projects, the Chrysalis Academy, comes in. An academy that creates opportunity for and has created opportunity for thousands of young people in our province and many coming from this region, the Garden Red region. And the Chrysalis Academy teaches young people discipline, how to cook, how to operate computers and computer sciences, about themselves, about their fitness, about welding. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female, you learn all of these skills. But most importantly, you learn how to be an upstanding citizen. And you can see a Chrysalis student when they walk in the room immediately. And I really believe that this project, which has been going for many years, is an outstanding program. I wish that we could expand this across our country. But what I need to do, and I don't think that she's here, but I would like to pass on, and Minister, perhaps you can do that. I want to pass on our gratitude to the retired, or the newly retired CEO, Dr. Lucille Meyer. For years, she has plowed her passion and her energy into that organization and has made such a difference in so many people's lives. We have a huge gratitude, we owe her a huge debt of gratitude, and we want to wish her all the very best in her retirement. Speaker, we must also create hope, and we must recreate it here in our province. Once again, this is not an easy task. National employment figures are deeply concerning, with many people losing hope finding work. We refuse to let that happen here. The Western Cape government is pioneering Planet Youth, an internationally recognized prevention model that supports young people to reduce substance abuse or substance use and to avoid other higher risk behaviors, strengthening protective factors in families, schools, and communities. And this program was first piloted right here in George in 2022, where grade 8 and 9 learners from George, Uniondale, and Harlem were surveyed. Planet Youth aims to better understand youth, where they live, their experiences, what are the protective factors in their lives, and what would support them in making healthier choices. This is the most comprehensive study of its kind in South Africa and aims to inform programs addressed at diverting young people away from crime. This is violence prevention. Following the success of the pilot, Planet Youth has been scaled up across other parts of the province, led by Minister Wenger. Violence prevention held together across multi-departments by the Department of Health. You and your team, thank you, Minister. To date, 49,094 learners across 123 schools were surveyed in 3 districts: Cape Metro, Cape West Coast, or West Coast, and the Garden Red. That, in actual fact, has a knock-on effect right down to 1.8 million residents, if you link that through to their families. This is a data source which we will be able to use in violence prevention into the future. It's not our own invention. We've borrowed this from other countries that have found success in this area, and we are building on their learnings, and I cannot wait to see how we're going to influence and change young people's lives because of this. In the audience today, we have Amyoli Jansen and her mother, Nokolo Jansen. There we go. Amyoli, thank you very much. You are a youth ambassador leading from the front. This remarkable young person is a role model in our children, for our children, and we welcome you and your mother. Thank you very much for what you are doing in this program. Speaker, in 2025, the Western Cape Department of Health and Wellness launched Khulisa Care, another project. This project in Xhosa, in isiXhosa, says to grow. It's a pilot program aimed at reducing malnutrition and stunting in early childhood. This is in partnership with the private sector, with the NGO sector, and organizations, non-profit organizations, and the academic institutions in our province, along with the department. This is where we will provide in this pilot monthly nutrition and in a voucher form or a card form to undernourished pregnant women and mothers of low birth weight babies. This project is now in Breda Valley, Khayelitsha, and Mitchell's Plain. And this is where, when we pick it up in our clinic, a mom will get a card, be able to get 10 highly nutritious products every month to make sure that she and her baby's weight can be picked up. Because we know that an underweight or malnourished mother or a stunted baby, they are more likely to drop out of school, earn less, and remain trapped in a cycle of poverty and ill health. When you drop out of school, you are more than likely to end up in the gangs. You are more than likely to end up in criminal activity. And this program, I think, is going to be a huge game changer going forward. So I want to thank every single person involved in this pilot project, Khulisa. And it's interesting to see that the Vulindlela team and the president spoke about it in his State of the Nation address. I know it's still pilot format, but if we can get it rolled out across South Africa, that will be a massive win for so many families who have really low birth weight babies. In conclusion, when children begin life with a strong foundation of nutrition, stimulation and care, they have a much better chance of succeeding at school and into adulthood. So while speaking of school and into adulthood, education is the key to independence, economic inclusion and employment. Under the leadership of Minister David Mania, we are building schools faster than most other provinces combined. That's because we take this challenge very seriously, building more schools more innovatively and rapidly than ever before. 9 new schools have opened in the last year and 2 more busy being opened. All these schools are in high demand communities in Cape Town and along the Garden Route. In readiness for 2026, we have added another 175 new classrooms to our schools. The Western Cape Education Department will invest 1.5 billion rand in new classrooms in this year ahead. 15 new schools are under construction now. And we will also build another 21 classrooms in existing schools through governing bodies. We have just under 1,500 schools in our province, and if we add the new schools and the EduInvest program with private schooling, we've got to strive to build another 100 schools over the next few years. The Western Cape government is also providing meals, free meals, to 550,000 learners every single school day. A learner with a full stomach is more likely to stay in school and go on to become a healthy, independent, working adult. In 2021, a study showed us that 80% of South Africa's grade 4 pupils cannot read for meaning. But the Western Cape Education Department is bucking this trend through innovation and agility. The Back on Track program provides learners with additional academic support, but also a unique opportunity for learners from different schools to come together and learn in a new environment. Last year, the program was rolled out to 20,700 learners and offering training to over 2,400 teachers. I'm delighted to say that the Back on Track program is working, and we will keep more children in school and out of a life of poverty. In 2025, over 91,000 grade 3 learners wrote independently administered annual systemic tests for mathematics and language. They achieved their highest results ever. You've got to go in there and do these studies in the lower grades so that you can fix things, so that by the time we get to matric, they've been sorted out. Speaker, since 2021, the mathematics pass rate has increased from 44.3% to 62%. The language pass rate has increased from 36.9% to 51.2%. A structured language program has been operating in all primary schools since 2024. Teachers in grade 1 to 3 were trained in the science of reading, and teacher and learner support materials were provided to all our schools. And we added an extra time for reading and mathematics within the current school day for all learners, grade 1 to 3. We must add to that again at home. Moms, grannies, let's also read to our kids. Let's help them develop a love of books. Then, Speaker, our matrics did us proud once again. The class of 2025 delivered the Western Cape's best ever matric pass rate at 88.2% and the best ever bachelor's pass rate at 49.2%. Learners with special education needs, LSEN, scored a matric pass rate of 91.9%, and the Young Creole School in Cape Town produced the top LSEN learner in the country, Takunda Muchoweni. Abigail Koch was recently named as the top matriculant in the country, and she's a matriculant from York High School right here in George. And Mr. Francois Moll, the principal, is here, I believe. Maybe not. But he is also here, and that school right here in George. And I think that is a great symbol to show that we can actually put forward the best matrics in the country from any of our towns, but specifically really good that it's here in George this last year. Our education department commits to excellence and works tirelessly to deliver excellence. Take Silikamva High School, which achieved a 100% pass rate for the first time in its history and a bachelor's pass rate of 76%. The principal tonight, she is here, Ms. Kalan Kokla. Is she here? Maybe that's the other seat. Could be. But I want to say to her, congratulations. Thank you for your leadership. It shines through. Then, Speaker, I must move on to gender-based violence. There has been a declaration of a national disaster with women and girls deeply impacted by this scourge, by this cancer in our country. We in this province are actively working to address this, and we are supporting where necessary. The Gender-Based Violence Ambassador Program is being steadily implemented across the Western Cape by Social Development Minister Yaku Lont and his department. These volunteers, 860 of them, are out there and have put up their hands, are volunteered to help us tackle the scourge of GBV. Minister Lont and his department plan to expand the ambassador program this year and increase the number of capacity building sessions for all of these ambassadors. And I've had the opportunity to meet so many of them, Minister, and these are people with passion, people that really want to deal with a blight on our society. We also have 21 gender-based violence ambassador programs that are currently operating across the province, including in the Karoo, Berg River, Cape Town, Cape Winelands, Overberg, Paarl, Stellenbosch, Breda Valley, Atlantis, and right here in George. And tonight, I would like to welcome Ms. Linda Smith, who is a GBV ambassador and one of my guests. Linda is a heroic survivor of gender-based violence, and is determined to use her voice in raising awareness about the importance of education and prevention. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for your bravery, and thank you for what you are doing to help us. We all have to do this together. And I want to say, especially the men, we have to stand up, and we have to make sure that we more than play our part in ending this scourge. But thank you. Speaker, the Western Cape Government employs approximately 1,000 social workers who work with thousands of our most vulnerable residents. We also have 27 shelters for survivors of GBV. These safe houses are supportive environments that allow survivors to build and re-establish their independence. Late last year, shelter services were accessed by 1,584 women and children. We've got to bring that number down. To boost the NGO resilience, our department has launched the Cape Care Fund. They launched this in June last year. They partnered with the Health Foundation, which for many years has raised lots of money and supported many of the NGOs in our region. And Minister, thank you to you and your department, especially in a time of economic hardship. Our NGOs battle to raise the money that they need. And I think this Cape Care Fund gives trust, builds trust, enables people to put money where their mouths are, and enables that money to be channeled to where it has the most effect. So I'm really looking forward to see how this is going to substantially beneficiate NGOs and NPOs across our province. Speaker, where social workers struggle to reach communities in remote parts of our province, this department took to the roads. This department has mobile services, and I see that you cover, on average, 60,000 kilometers a month, offering services in the most remote parts of our province. And we thank those social workers for doing that every single day. Speaker, our committed social workers provide essential support to vulnerable individuals, advocate for children's rights and protection, and help families across vital services such as healthcare and social grants. They bridge gaps between communities and government systems. Their work not only offers immediate relief, but also promotes long-term resilience, helping build safer, healthier, and more stable communities. Over the next year, DSD will pilot an independent living program. This program aims to help those young people that just turn 18 and have to leave our youth care centres. It helps them to address that critical gap and enables them to move on into life. And that program, I think, is really, really important, because we don't want those young people having 18 years of help and then be dropped and left and actually probably end up back in one of our systems again. So I think this is really a welcome project. Social work integrated management systems, management system, that's too technical, we just call it SWIMS, is another app that, Minister, you've brought along with our IT department. And this is an app that provides support to our social workers using AI speech text. It enables them to have clouds in the clouds, files in the cloud. It enables residents who need support can move from one town to the other, and their file can be pulled down by another social worker. This is innovation and technology that changes the lives of our social workers. It takes the admin burden away from them. And what does that do? It gives them much more time with the most vulnerable in our society. This lives the value of caring in our government. And we thank each and every one of them, and we really welcome this app. And you're making it available not only to DSD, to education, you're making it available to other government officials, and I presume soon even to the NGO sector. Speaker, Cultural Affairs and Sport Minister Ricardo McKenzie and his department have strengthened and expanded the MOD program, the Mass Participation Opportunity and Access Development Growth Program. And so more young people have access to safe, structured after-school spaces guided by caring adults, positive role models. This is another one of those projects that keeps young people off the street, keeps them out of crime, gives them something to do in the afternoon. This term, we have grown the MOD program from 181 centres to 315. This is not growth for the sake of numbers, and we are moving forward with an ambitious, clear platform to move this to 500 centres. Minister, that is a clear promise into the future. It is in your It is in I'm sure it's in your performance contract. 500 centres that no child will actually miss out on opportunities, and no one will miss these opportunities because of their postcode or where they live. And so I think this program really will be one of those violence prevention programs that helps us give opportunity to young people. In 2025 alone, the MOD centres delivered through 55 centres here in the Garden Route reached 13,774 learners. This is an early intervention that is scaling, supporting learners, and the foundations for long life learning and discipline, confidence, and where a sense of belonging is built. Speaker, the Western Cape is the only province to reverse unemployment amongst the youth between 2021 and 2024. I spoke about the 18% or 18.1% unemployment rate that comes from the last quarter labour force survey, and it was really nice to see that we are reducing the youth unemployment rate numbers, the only place in South Africa that is happening. And it is because of these range of programs that enables young people to get opportunities. One of those programs is called the Year Beyond program, Minister, also with your department, Minister Mackenzie, and that is to provide opportunities for youth to gain work experience while serving their communities. And we are delighted to report that 3,250 youth were given such opportunities, and over 500 of them came from this region, the Garden Route. And tonight we have 2 Year Beyond, or we call them Yeboners, Year Beyond graduates in the audience. We've got Lisikanya Pendu, who has been granted a bursary from her employer to study environmental sciences, bringing her one step closer to her 10-year dream of establishing an NGO that focuses on water resilience. Minister Anton Bradell, I think you must keep an eye on her. So, Lisikanya, there we go. Thank you very much. And I am certain, well, I can see from this report that this program and this project has enabled you, and I think so many more just like you. Thank you very much for playing your part. The Year Beyond helped her find her authentic and self-voice. I also want to welcome Batya Klele, who was a teen mom who refused to give up. She is the manager of the Year Beyond Planet Youth program. So she came through Year Beyond and now is involved in Planet Youth. So, Batya, thank you very much. And these are the kind of programs that are called creating opportunity for young people. Speaker, then, in the Department of Health, at the tip of Africa, there is a place where 2.4 billion is being invested into new and improved health facilities across 3 years. Last year, 45 health infrastructure projects were under construction. 30 of them will be completed this year. This massive push to set improved access to healthcare for residents across the province. These projects span the full health system, from clinic upgrades to hospital expansions and specialized mental health facilities, strengthening access to care across the province. 255 million is being invested, that's Rand, is being invested into the expansion of the Grooteskier Hospital Emergency Centre, one of the busiest emergency centres in Africa, improving capacity, patient flow, and safety for both patients and staff. 3 new acute psychiatric units will be added to existing regional hospitals this year, including an additional adolescent ward at Lentegeur Hospital, which was completed last year. This will add 100 beds to the mental health system, which remains under immense pressure. 63 new mobile clinics hit the road in 2025, placing an aging fleet that brings service directly into the communities. Tonight, Elizabeth Braff is in the audience, one of the nurses that helped design the incredible mobile clinics. Elizabeth? Is Elizabeth here? There she is. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Wherever I go across the rural parts of this province, I come across these ambulances, and I always go and speak to the nurses in the ambulances, and I ask them what it's like taking these services to the far-reaching corners of this province. I also ask them what are you called? What are these vehicles called? And what I've picked up so far is you're called the angels. You come to bring care to people that are not able to make it or travel the long distances to the healthcare facilities in the far-reaching rural areas. So we really do appreciate that service that you take to our people. Speaker, we continue the redevelopment of the Tygerberg Hospital. This is the second largest hospital in Southern Africa. This is a once-in-a-generation undertaking that will change the very foundations of public healthcare systems in the Western Cape, and we must get it right. As the planning and behind-the-scenes work continues, we make this a reality. The Western Cape government is getting ready, and having invested 35 million rand alongside to two new industrial warehouses for linen and consumables at Tygerberg, ensuring rapid, efficient material support to our hospital network. And this is what I call the health system take-a-lot, because you really help to get support into the hospital. They don't have to have the storage spaces. They can get quick responses. And this innovation didn't come from management. This innovation came from the coal-face workers in our department, said, if we build this, we can actually get better service to our clients, the people who need health care. So we really recognize those people and thank them for their innovation. In 2026, the department will make a significant progress in facilities in Hanover Park, Knysna and Mossel Bay, with nearly 500 million rand set aside for these projects. The facilities will take health services right to communities who need them most. Artificial intelligence, Speaker, is transforming medicine worldwide, creating powerful opportunities to improve both the quality and accessibility of healthcare. In previous provincial addresses, I spoke about our ability to have robotic surgery, the only robotic surgery in state hospitals in Africa, or in 2 hospitals in this province, state hospitals in this province, and now we've taken it to the next level. And when I heard about it, I had to go and test it for myself, because the department reported their investment into AI-enabled analytics for eye patients, especially diabetics. And I'm a diabetic, so I decided to go and test it. And these 4 clinics that are running these pilots are not in our main hospitals. They're in our clinics in Khayelitsha. And they have AI-enabled AI tests to see if you have any damage to your retina, your retinopathy, testing, which is really critical for diabetes. And I was blown away. I was amazed at the system itself, at the speed and the analytics of the system. In actual fact, I think there was a video made of it. It's actually said I've got to go and look for something else in my right eye. There could be a bit of a pressure change. And so the AI system probably picked up something else that no one else would have seen. And so now I've got to go and have that tested further. This is how we take cutting-edge healthcare directly to citizens. At Groote Hospital, in partnership with the University of Cape Town, the department is introducing an AI-powered CT brain imaging system to support faster and more accurate stroke diagnostics and treatment. Strokes remain one of the leading causes of disability, and when it comes to treatment, every minute counts. This technology enables clinicians to analyze brain scans almost instantly, improving diagnostics, speed, and accuracy so that treatment can begin sooner. Earlier intervention significantly improves outcomes, helping to protect speech, movement, and independence and lives. And, these are the kind of projects, they might be landing in Cape Town, but this innovation is especially powerful because it is linked through our telestroke platform, which enables hospitals in Mitchells Plain, Somerset West, Victoria, and even here in George to connect through to the system using our data and broadband projects. So we are connected and enabled to use, our doctors here in George can actually use these analytics and link through to doctors in other parts of the province or the world. This technology does not replace doctors. It strengthens them by providing faster information, better decisions and support, and access to remote specialists' expertise where needed. This is how we care better for our citizens. This is how we live our values. Speaker, to this, I must move to local government. This year, I cannot talk about the state of the province without mentioning the upcoming local government elections. Citizens have an opportunity to make their mark and improve their lives. We have over 500 political parties in South Africa. When I look at the performance at all of our municipalities, there is a vast disparity in the quality of services delivered, and often these aligned to the makeup of the leadership. You can be in one town where rubbish is collected, leaks are fixed, roads are maintained, the lights are on, and you can just drive 60 kilometers and you're in a different town, which resembles a war zone. Rubbish everywhere, water leaks in every street, sewerage running down the road and into their water systems, and in some cases, no water in taps for weeks on end. Just down the road, Knysna is facing a water and management crisis. The Western Cape government has offered support through many interventions and even funded some of the critical work with provincial funds. We have also tried to place the town under administration, but that was rejected by national government and the NCOP, saying that we did not need to do that. Everything was under control. Well, exactly the opposite is the case, and things are only getting worse. I would like to acknowledge Minister Bartman, Minister Burdell, you and your teams who are constantly trying to help that municipality. In actual fact, people think that Minister Burdell has a house there because he is there so often. No, he's not the real man. Speaker, there are municipalities where the wrong choices were made in the last municipal election, and the costs have been great. Mistakes last for 5 years, and much damage can be done in that time. It also takes far longer to fix what is broken. So my message today is, please cast your vote wisely this year. Maybe for your party too. But Speaker, while speaking about what really inspires me in municipalities, it is innovation. And it is when service delivery is prioritized. And Speaker, that makes me think of the Hessequa municipality. The council took an incredibly brave and innovative decision, and they was the successful bidder for a solar PV plant and battery project that we put out on bid. And they received a total of 173 million rand over 3 financial years. And later this year, I will go along there and help flick the switch on this project, which will essentially see the town of Riversdale become independent of Eskom. Sorry, Mr. Yedwa, I'm sure you'll still be connected, but they will have a whole brand new energy model. And this model, I think, will give a sustainability to the town. It will make the town into a leading town when it comes to investment opportunities into the next energy program or water program for sustainable economic opportunity and sustainable service delivery. It will change the financial model for that town. And I'm pretty certain that once that switch has been flipped and we can see the evidence, it is the residents that are going to get cheaper electricity over time, sustainable and cheaper electricity. But it's not only in that municipality. The Breede River municipality, we were there the other day for our cabinet meeting. They've built 3 massive new reservoirs. You can see them when you drive along the N1. That is about water resilience and investment into the future. Talking about water resilience, the City of Cape Town this year is going out on 2 tenders. One for a desalination plant and one for a reuse plant. These are the 2 biggest water plants on the African continent this year going out to tender. This is where major investments into pipelines, roadways, these carry services to citizens and enable investment and growth. And every one of our municipalities, wherever they are, when they invest into these kinds of projects, that enables a change and longevity investment confidence and a real difference to people who live there. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I'm sure you're glad that I said that. Last year, I asked each of us to step up. And that is exactly what this government did. And on that note, I want to say, DG, to you, your top management, and to every single one of the 87,000 officials that work in this province day and night, whether they be nurses, whether they be teachers, whether they be administrators, whether they be on the end of a phone trying to help you, whatever service that they are giving, I want to, through you, thank every one of them for stepping up. Because these results don't just happen. You can't get that reporting, those numbers, just because. It is because there's constant work every single day, stepping up to get it done. So thank you. I also want to thank my cabinet, to your teams in your office, to my team in my office, who also day and night make sure that we are able to deliver service to our citizens. And then I want to thank Tracy and my family for giving me the opportunity to spend all this time with all of you and not at home. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve the people of this province. Now it is time to build on that momentum. It is time to move forward like never before, to get things done. At the tip of Africa, there is a place where kindness is second nature. The people I meet and engage with, the warmth and generosity I see remind me of what makes this province of ours a remarkable place. Our kindness and get it done spirit are what sets us apart from the negativity that we sadly see across the world. We, the Western Cape government, and so many of our businesses and residents are taking action now to create our growth, our prosperity, and our success. We are not called a place of hope for nothing. Despite challenges and hardships, the people of the Western Cape still believe in our vision of success. They, with us, still dare to hope for a simple success of a dignified life that they can live to its fullest. This is a province where bold ideas are nurtured and given expression through our enduring commitment to our residents. This is a region where trust has been earned through hard work, where our values have meaning. And even as we have set a high standard, we must be determined to enable more of our residents to step up and out of poverty and into a world of opportunity and hope. At the tip of Africa, there is a place where we innovate, where we look out for our fellow residents, and where we grow together towards a brighter future. At the tip of Africa, there is a place that is growing jobs and opportunities. It is a place in which the beauty of the landscape is rivaled only by the hard work and resilience of its people. It is a place where we will be spending 2026 getting to work and getting it done. It is the Western Cape. Long may it prosper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Premier, Honourable Members. Honourable Petrus, is that a point of order?
Ja, Speaker, weet nie of jy het van
It is your point of order, Honourable Petrus.
of jy het van aanvaar of jy het van aanvaar as 'n punt van orde nie. Maar as jy dit nie aanvaar het, dit op rekord plaas. Hier is iemand op wie die oomblik te groot is binne wat foto's vat en het versprei en ek dink die premier het daarvan gepraat in sy inleiding. Wat foto's vat, onwaarhede versprei. Ons is besig hier met ernstige sake vir die mense van die Weskaap. Ons het nie tyd vir Facebook speletjies hier en mense wat onwaarhede versprei. En wil aan diegene sê, bly ver van ons af. by ver geleer.
Baie dankie agbare Petrus, net vir die rekord, agbare lede, dit is nie 'n punt van orde nie. Honourable members, with
Solank dit op rekord is.
thank you, Honourable Petrus. I have ruled in that regard. Honourable members, thank you very much to the Honourable Premier. In accordance with Rule 15 of the Standing Rules, the Premier's opening address will be placed on the order paper for debate. Members and guests are requested to remain standing in their places while the procession leaves the chamber. Honourable members, please note that on Thursday, the 26th of February 2026, the proceedings will commence at 8 a.m. I would like to take this opportunity to invite all the members and guests for dinner outside. Please use the doors on the left-hand side of the hall to exit and move to the dining area. Honourable members and guests, that concludes the business for the day, and the House is adjourned.